You know, I can't believe it. Are you telling me that Nintendo, who's known for sending their Nintendo ninjas, just because your parents named you Luigi, is apparently greedy? These same yeah, well, I'll be shocked. Insert surprise Pikachu face. Hit the like button and subscribe, baby. And speaking of Luigi, is there any way we can bring Iwata back and get rid of whoever's in charge of Nintendo? Because I know exactly who's in charge and we're gonna get to that in a few minutes. Now, good old Nintendo forgot one very important rule. Never bite the hand that fingers you. I mean, feeds you. Yeah, feeds you. Because Nintendo's physical game key card is literally like a hotel key card. You do not own anything in that hotel room. You get to feel like you do for a while. That is a level of disrespect these people are giving to gamers. I remember when I was a kid, my parents would barely even buy me a $40 video game growing up. Imagine these kids trying to ask for a $90 video game just to play King Kirby. That has gotta be awkward, but sadly we live in a world of too many corporate slaves. Too many normies permeating the industry who'll have no problem paying the extra cost and thanking Nintendo for charging them more. In what world does it make sense for Mario Kart to cost more than Baldur's Gate 3? Guys, it's not just the money, it's the lack of value you are getting from the $90 or $80. And that gets me to my next point. What you're about to read is from the president of Nintendo America, a guy that looks like a bald rat by the name of Doug Bowser. I mean, wow, what a prophetic name. For it is clear for everybody to see now that he is in fact the main villain. It's quite funny that this monster previously worked for Electronic Arts, also known as EA, which tells you all you need to know. Now he says, we recognize that there are some people who may not be able to afford the Switch 2's price, which is why we wanted to make the other Switch platforms available so they still have an opportunity to come into our gaming universe. Be part of the characters in these worlds and see value, if you will, in whatever rung of the platform they come in. They just called us brokies! That's not very nice, is it, Dougie boy? Quit being poor is one hell of a take by this twat. Especially in this economy. That quote reminds me of a good old friend that we all know by the name of Don Matrick, who's probably wiping his ass with his own arm because he can't find any work. After making that horrific statement, history always repeats itself. Nintendo is telling you basically, you will own nothing and you will be happy about it, but fear not, kids, because remember that if these people want to claim that buying doesn't equal ownership, then pirating technically doesn't equal stealing. These same people are like, quit pirating our games, and then the pirators are like, well, make it affordable then and make it have value. I am not condoning pirating because it's illegal, but let's be honest, if there's any company that deserves it, it's Nintendo. I mean, they clearly haven't learned from Ubisoft, because these were the same who said gamers should not get comfortable with owning their games and literally proceeded to have their worst year in the history of their company. I just want to say that a Steam Deck is like $400 and you get Steam sales almost every week. There are no online subscription fees and you regularly get 90% off games. Now in contrast, you have the Switch 2, which is $449. Their video games cost $80 to $90. You have to pay for an online subscription. Every single one of their first party games never diminish in price. The fact that there are still 8-year-old Switch Mario games sitting on store shelves for $60 tells you all you need to know. So you are essentially going to pay $80 to $90 for the next decade. I absolutely saw this coming from Nintendo a mile away. They have never been anything other than openly anti-consumer. They are wolves in sheep's clothing. I mean, can you imagine charging for a tech demo? That is just so asinine. The hubris to do that. Imagine if a car salesman tried to charge you for a test drive, you would spit in his face. It's actually fucking bonkers that they're charging you for is essentially a walkthrough of how to use a $600 device. This isn't some kind of Lamborghini that costs $5 million. This is a $600 outdated console that doesn't even have OLED. You know what's funny? Rockstar doesn't even need to make their games $100. All they need to do is sell GTA 6 for $70 and they would be farming wins from every single direction. I mean, seriously, imagine if GTA 6 drops and Rockstar's like, you know what? We're gonna sell this for $70 because we professionals have standards. Even though we've treated our audience like pay pigs, today we're not gonna do that. We are going to sell GTA 6 for $70 and that would literally rip the soul from Nintendo's pathetic PR department. We all know that's not going to happen, but we can all hope. Now, remember when everybody blamed Trump for Nintendo charging $90 for video games, including Doug Bowser, but in reality, it was just typical Nintendo being greedy. They literally said in their own words that they were charging $450 irrespective of whatever the tariff was supposed to be. Blaming tariffs for these prices is such a massive cope. It's just corporate greed, plain and simple. I mean, I can't believe people would think that tariffs would have anything to do with game prices. That just illustrates people like Doug Bowser, these corpos will do when tariffs are introduced. Use it as some kind of smokescreen to hide their true intent. Even American companies are unaffected. They will look at these import fees and raise their prices to maximize profits. And another one of these Nintendo lies is they're just adjusting for inflation. That argument is so stupid. Oh my god, the amount of inflation becomes a nil point when the cost of living outweighs it. If we're going to adjust for inflation, then every single one of you watching this should have your wage doubled. If you were making $12 an hour, then you should be making $24 an hour. If the price of groceries and rent are continuing to increase, then you can't use that inflation argument. It seems like the inflation argument only works for the people who are trying to sell you things, not for the average American who can barely pay for rent. See, this will either go one of two ways: a reset in gaming as a whole or a second 1983 crash. Because I need to remind all of you that the gaming industry has never been more profitable. It is literally dwarfing other forms of entertainment media tenfold. So whenever you hear that bullshit argument, know that it's total bollocks. It's this insatiable greed that's not exclusive to the video game market. It's essentially the global economic model of the 21st century. Because what Nintendo is doing is phasing out the physical copies to completely obliterate the secondhand market and prevent little Jimmy over there from lending his buddy a game for the weekend, so that no one can access the game without paying the insane prices to effectively rent it. We are truly in a bizarre place. We have officially entered the wait for the sell era of video games. Or some people might like to call it the pirate era, I'm just saying. Because if enough people refuse these prices on release, it won't be but a couple of weeks before the prices drop. But we all know that's not going to happen. I've heard a million times that we're going to boycott this company. And this is really one of the only times where I truly wish people would follow through with that, but they are boycotting until release day. Because I guarantee you they're gonna buy it day one. And on that bombshell, let me know what you think in the comments. Manix out.